spite of the only the 5,000 modest views that it got, it has created discourse to the tune of 5 million views. Okay. You're the Sydney Sweeney of the left? No. I mean, there's a difference between, I think, the space I occupy and Sydney Sweeney. Let's be real. I've listened to you every day for the past 4 years, and I don't think about you as much as mainstream media does lately. Yeah. The original upload got deleted, so that's probably part of it. Oh, okay. I like your cardigan. Where did you get it? You don't want to know where I got this cardigan from. It's a Chatter's grandmother that I'm dating. I've been dating one of your grandmas, and she gave it to me after we bumped uglies. Okay. I watched it on the New York Times website. Maybe more did too. I don't know. But in any case, yeah, rest in peace to grandma. She got hit with a bazooka. And by that, I mean my penis. My penis is the bazooka in this situation. Yeah. Okay. It's not a big deal, but please call her back. I mean, I belong to the streets, Chatter, so I don't know if that'll happen, but, you know, I got to stop. I have to stop. Chris Rabb has decided to do a event that is a rally, for the record. Don't know where that came from. Don't know what's going on there, but I guess he wants to do a rally. And got to talk to them about that. Didn't know that that's what we were doing, but breaking from CNN, Hasan Piker will date your grandmother and steal your inheritance. True. Pragmata, your grandma, is true. Trump scheduled to address international media at 3 p.m. today. Great. Yeah. So we're going to get started on the saga that took place when I dared do the New York Times Opinions podcast. You know, I had some takes on the ethics of theft, whether I care for it or not. I cracked some jokes, which was, of course, unacceptable. BDBD reacted to your interview with Jeffrey Sachs and your opinions on China. John J. Mersheimer belongs in the offensive realism school. What school does Sachs belong to? Oh my, gradually approaching academic art. Neither of these two is pro-China, right? Jeffrey Sachs has always been neutral globalist. What he opposes is hegemonic order. As for Hassani's left wing, he's even more anti-imperialism. It's just that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Strictly speaking, Jeffrey cannot be solely classified as pro-China, given that his primary research and stances are also concentrated on traditional anti-American blocs such as Russia, Iran, and Cuba. As for Hasan, due to his ideological and systemic affinities, he can be considered entirely pro-China. Where are the pro-China folks? Only rationalists here. Dream collaboration. Saxon is not pro-China. He is anti-American. That means Jeffrey Sachs. Professor Sachs can indeed be considered pro-China. Of course, he certainly can't compare to us Chinese ourselves. Moreover, if someone completely abandons our own country and blindly pro-China, it would actually make people look down on them. If the Yanks take Israel to task and force Israel to cease fire, let the Yanks through the two-state solution, then exert pressure on Iran by blockading the Strait of Hormuz to force them into a dictated peace instead of recklessly striking Iran as they do now. TLDR, conservatives think the radicals are too conservative. That was Chinese netizens react to two Sinophiles talking about China. This is killing me. Is the beef between Chinese and Japanese really this strong? Bro said fuck crying about interracial relationships. We got real to focus on. A heartwarming moment in Beijing's Sanlitun where love knows no borders. Who cares? The divine mission of all Han Chinese men is to participate in the final battle against Japan. Until that is accomplished, black men can accompany Chinese women however they want. What the? That's amazing. Yeah, see, there is something that's more powerful than anti-blackness, which is sometimes seen as like a universal principle, right? Especially in a Western design. A Western hegemonic design of the world, obviously, one of the number one ops has always been black folk in order to justify chattel slavery in the minds of the Western Empire. But it turns out there are certain places on the planet where something takes a stronger priority than anti-blackness, it seems. And that is... yeah, that's China. Wait, did I blast off at all? Did I even start? Oh, I didn't. All right, let's get to it. Let's blast off before I get into it. I haven't even done that yet. It's crazy. So much going on in the world that I forgot to blast off. Okay. We got New York Times drama. New York Times podcast drama breathes new life to Hasan derangement syndrome discourse. Sugar Baby and DHS, Votorama on ice, Trump orders kills on RGC Navy, your rage on Chad Vice. Later, get in now. Fox and Friends covered it too. Dude, every day that goes by that I go viral over and over again is another day that I'm closer and closer to Donald Trump finally doing a true social on me, and then someone just assassinating me in the street, you know? Every day that goes by is a day that we are closer to that end. I hope it doesn't happen, but I do worry about that for sure. Trump definitely knows who you are. I hope not. I hope my goat doesn't know who I am, you know? My goat, Donald Trump. Anyway, New York Times podcast drama breathes new life to Hasan derangement syndrome discourse, Sugar Baby and DHS, Votorama on ice, Trump orders kill on IRGC Navy, your rage on Chad Vice later, get in now. If that happens, can I have Kaya? No, get in line. Mods, Hasanabi spamming? Yes, of course I'm spamming. You know why I'm spamming. I want you to also tell the people that you know and love to get into the broadcast. Live and alive, baby. Get a Pope mobile? True. Anyway, here it is.
On occasions, I was like, I'm just going to go back, grab those 4 lemons and
I'll
get
be
the
back
hell
in
out.
1 second.
And
you should go to prison.
I know. You think they're going to ban me?
They should throw you in jail.
See? I was being serious.
I didn't feel bad about it at all.
I'm proposing a new term, micro-looting.
I started going into the grocery store, I would pick up the thing that I wanted, and then I would go.
It's a survival technique. Gotta eat to live, gotta steal to eat.
You're paying for that, right?
No, babe, food is a human right.
People are taking small things from big corporations, and they're feeling justified.
Like, look, everyone's shoplifting from Whole Foods when you're shopping there.
You're not gonna steal from a deli like that. But Whole Foods, fuck Whole Foods. Fuck Bezos, fuck Amazon, all that.
We should be rioting, but we're tired, so I'm gonna take these bagels.
But is it a slippery slope? What's going on with our moral code? To find out, I'm talking to political commentator Hasan Piker and New Yorker writer Gia Tolentino. Thank you both so much for being here with me today to talk about this. Hi, Gia.
Hi.
Hi, Hasan.
Hi.
I want to start with a little exercise just about our own morals. Would you share your Netflix password?
I do.
I also do. Well,
With anyone.
For the longest time, I actually had someone else's Netflix password. That was my primary access to Netflix.
And now you share your own?
Yeah.
Would you get around a paywall on an article you're trying to read?
Do it every day on my stream. Every
and
day.
I support it when people do it for my own work. I say, go off. Use the Wayback Machine.
Would you pirate music from an indie band?
Is it 2005 and I'm using LimeWire? Because yes.
I feel like every millennial has at some point done this.
I feel like fundamentally Spotify is kind of like deleterious to the musician livelihood.
I think the Mangione part of the interview made sense and was totally unobjectionable if you think at all. The shoplifting stuff did confuse me though. Like the written version made it sound like you guys were saying shoplifting is a revolutionary form of protest, but I don't think you would say something like that. So it was probably lost in the transcription. No, I literally talk about how it's I mean, I don't know what ended up making its way to the final product, but I just straight up was like, I think this stuff is ridiculous. Like, I don't think this is, it's almost self-serving to assume. Actually, we both agreed on this, where we said like it's self-serving to assume that this is like some kind of revolutionary action. The real thing that you should be doing is like salting every grocery store possible. But I'm pretty sure that didn't that make it to the final point, like the final transcript?
I use that, but then I go to the shows.
Yeah, no, I'm pro piracy all the way, like across the board. Would you pirate a car? Yes. You know, if you could, if one could
pirate a car,
it was just a classic thing back in the day. The government funded anti-piracy initiatives would be like, dude, would you steal a car? I'm like, yeah, sure. If I could get away with it, if it was as easy as you know, pirating IP, I would do it. Yeah.
Would you dine and dash from your local diner?
Never. Tip 35%. Mike's, come on.
No, I wouldn't do that. And if I saw somebody doing that, I'd probably pay for their meal.
Yeah. Would you steal a book from the library?
Never.
No.
Would you steal from the Louvre?
Yes.
I would not be logistically capable of executing such a fact, but would I cheer on every news story of people that I see doing it? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's cool. We gotta get back to cool crimes like that. Like, bank robberies, right? Stealing priceless artifacts, things of that nature. I feel like that's way cooler than the 7,000th new cryptocurrency scheme that people are engaging in.
Like, this was endlessly discussed. It's so obvious that I'm fucking joking. It is unbelievable how much discourse that moment invoked, okay? How much discourse that created. People are literally like, dude, the Louvre is like owned by the French government. It's like, it's for everyone. How dare you? It's all this shit. And it's like, yeah, I'm not being serious, man. The fuck is wrong with y'all? Yeah, Democratic spokesman Hasan Piker supports all sorts of crime as a form of protest. It's crazy. How is this possible? Dude, to be fair, I've been watching for a long time and your sarcasm is very dry. I mean, what is this conversation? Maybe I'm the crazy one. Maybe it is me. Maybe it is my autism and not the autism of others. But like, isn't it pretty obvious what I'm saying there? Am I crazy? Is society crazy or am I crazy? It's like very obviously a fucking, very obviously not serious. Çok şişman çıkmışsın lan beard. Amına sikeyim. Bir hafta. Ananı sikeyim senin. No, you are not. They will find something to write about it even if they didn't have this. They're acting like you're Lupin the Third. I mean, this is
art bank rob. Yeah, I think it's cool. We gotta get back to cool crimes like that, like bank robberies, right? Stealing priceless artifacts, things of that nature. I feel like that's way cooler than the 7,000th new cryptocurrency scheme that people
like. What are we doing? Like, what the fuck? I don't get it. Please explain the joke to me. I'm a centrist Democrat and hate humor. Okay, you guys need to stop. Don't even joke right now. I'm being super honest. Is there something going on? Is there something going on with me? Am I the one who is at fault here? Is it just like my dry autistic delivery that causes people to take things that I'm saying super seriously? Like I'm making like everything that I'm delivering is a socialist hadith, okay? I'm the socialist Ayatollah, and every word that comes out of my mouth, these motherfuckers, these centrists and the right-wingers, they treat it like I'm the socialist Ayatollah. I'm the Ayatollah of woke socialism, and I'm delivering another hadith, a fatwa. I'm delivering a fatwa. Everyone needs to interpret everything I'm saying super seriously. To that, I always have to go back to and say,
legalize comedy.
What the hell? I can't tell if it's like a cynical, weaponized misunderstanding or if there's like genuinely a lot of people that maybe see people twisting my words and making that come across as sincere, and then they get confused. They're like, what the fuck's this guy about? This guy's about murdering everyone and also stealing. He's for stealing everything. I don't get it.
Are engaging in.
Mm-hmm. Would you steal from Whole Foods?
You want to go first?
Yes. And I have under very specific circumstances. I think that stealing from a big box store, I'll just state my platform. Mm-hmm. It's neither very significant as a moral wrong, nor is it significant in any way as protest or direct action. But I did steal from Whole Foods on several occasions, like I've been involved in like a neighborhood mutual aid group since 2021. And so every week I would go get groceries for Miss Nancy, my now family friend who lived nearby, and she wanted to go to Whole Foods. She wanted food from Whole Foods. So I was like, okay.
You're not at fault at all, in my opinion. I think people have an automatic assumption that people in the political sphere are always 100% serious and sincere. They have no frame of reference for a political entertainer being in the mainstream like you currently are. Yeah, if I'm being serious, I'm being serious. I'll be serious when I have to, right? But then I'll also fucking make jokes. God damn, dude. We can't have any laughter in this life. It's crazy. People are out here straight up saying, like, if you are, jokes are immoral, okay? Jokes are bourgeois decadence. If you crack a joke at any point in your life, you must be shot and killed. It's crazy. Jokes are counter-revolutionary. Jokes are bourgeois morality. It's immoral. It's completely unacceptable. Anytime you say anything, I'm gonna take it sincerely. I'm going to treat it like it's the most serious thing you've ever said. You want to steal from the Louvre? You're gonna steal from the Louvre. You might have even already stolen from the Louvre. Right.
Great. And so I'd be getting Miss Nancy all her groceries, and then I would finish and I'd be like, oh my God, 4 lemons. I forgot 4 lemons. And on several occasions, I was like, I'm just going to go back, grab those 4 lemons and get the hell out. And
you should go to prison.
I know. You think they're going to ban me?
They should.
See, am I being sincere, you think? Guys, I read the transcript. He clearly wants to send this author to jail.
They should throw you in jail.
But I didn't feel bad about it at all.
Mm-hmm. And was part of it because of how you feel about Whole Foods as a corporation?
Yeah, it already felt like a bit of a compromise. Like at the time, I was like, I had not been to Whole Foods. I had a bit more sort of consumer discipline about where I was spending my money then, and I already felt like I was in the hole even by shopping there, and it certainly felt in a utilitarian sense. I was like, this is not a big deal.
Well,
right, guys?
I'm pro stealing from big corporations because they steal quite a bit more from their own workers. However, one thing that might even help your ethical dilemma is the fact that the automated process that they design, these companies know will increase shrink, right? So it's actually factored in. The lemons that you stole are factored into the bottom line of these mega corporations regardless, and they still end up having increased profit margins because they no longer have to pay the cashiers that they used to hire, as opposed to this automated system, knowing full well that people are still going to be able to still steal a lot more efficiently, as a matter of fact, through the automated process.
Totally. Well, I was looking things like, and shrinkage is roughly equal internally as externally. Like,
you don't realize is that they did take that joke seriously as well. They don't have a problem with throwing shoplifters in prison. Yeah, I don't really give a shit, I don't really give a shit about people stealing from big corporations. Like, people make it seem like this is the most consequential ethical dilemma. I feel like there's bigger problems that we just don't address. My argument here is just saying, like, I don't do it, and I talk about it in a little bit. Like, or I was like, I can't do it. I can't steal it all. There's no way that I can do it. Personally, I just don't care all that much. I feel like there are larger systemic problems at play here. Most of the conversation that we have revolves around the social contract tearing apart, right? Like, I am invested in systemic analysis and offering criticism to everyday systems of violence, structural forms of violence like poverty, and how that has caused people to react the way that they do, right? Because, like, theft is ripping apart the social contract, and it happens as a consequence of the social contract being ripped apart. So I see, forms of violence and things like that happen. I wrote about this on the New York Times, ironically enough, in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's assassination. But like, these kinds of violent actions are born out of the unlimited violence that we dish out, our culture of ultra violence, but then also they happen. They take place more common, I can't even fucking talk. They happen all the goddamn time because people are losing their minds, because people are just like, this shit doesn't work anymore. They have less of an investment in American prosperity. They have no investment whatsoever. They're not bought into the system.
They expect it from their employees that they are sort of disenfranchising constantly.
Yeah. But what about the argument that if everyone just starts stealing wantonly from the self-checkout machines, Whole Foods will eventually raise the prices?
Yeah, chaos, full chaos. Let's go. I mean, look, I'm in favor of fast and free buses, and also government owned storefronts. And, two of those policies, the mayor of this beautiful city is currently working on.
Would you encourage stealing in the same way from a Mamdani run city-owned?
I don't really care either, but I always think it's silly when people characterize it as a principle, or justify it as, oh, they're robbing us with these prices. Like, you just don't want to pay, that's fine, but let's dispense with this framing. Antisocial actions like shoplifting are not paying for the train as a moral act. I don't think you're doing that, though. Yeah, I'm not. I very clearly am talking about, all of this stuff is irrelevant, and people have less of a buy-in to the system when the system is not fucking creating an environment of stability. That's it. Like, because here is the framework, right? The rich don't play by the rules, so why should I? My point is, the rich don't play by the rules. We should focus on that. That's always my point, right? And people only focus on the why should I part. And it's like, I personally follow the rules. I'm always following the fucking rules. I mean, there are certain instances where I think the rules are silly and stupid, like IP, patents, whatever. But for the most part, I follow the rules. I can't break the rules. I can't violate them at all, okay? But again, regardless, I'm not going to spend a good deal of time talking about the rule breakers when they're just like regular folk, when they're ordinary folk. Because the real problem is the rule breakers that are writing the fucking rules. And this entire conversation is me trying to bring the conversation back to that.
Grocery store with lower prices? And why?
I would not. Because I feel like that's taxpayer funded, and the prices are this union labor, and the prices are also adjusted regardless.
I think that hypothetical is interesting, right? Because if you look at it from a categorical imperative type thing, what if everybody did this? The converse is like, oh, what if every major grocery chain stole from workers and consumers? And that is basically true, right? Like, it's interesting. Like, I think it speaks to the thing where a kind of harm committed by the individual strangely continually draws more ire than the same harm being committed by a structure. And so I kind of am inclined towards this. It's like, everyone try it, see what happens.
Yeah. Well, by the way, ironically enough, I don't personally do it. I never do it. When I was younger, I stole some Pokemon cards from a friend, and my father punished me. And it was such a harrowing experience that I literally can't even steal like a candy bar. When we were in college, a lot of my friends used to love doing that. Getting drunk, going to the gas station, 5-finger discount. I would never participate in it, and I still can't to this day participate in it. I'm just saying that I personally don't really care. If someone needs the food, they should absolutely steal it.
There's one thing that's like stealing when you're a teenager and you want the adrenaline rush, and part of it is about testing the rules and getting away with something. But I feel like what I'm seeing on TikTok and social media is people saying that they're stealing from Whole Foods, not just for the thrill.
I saw someone also participating in this discourse and being like, Hasan is telling poor black people to go and steal so they go to prison. And I was like, I'm checking out of this. Unbelievable. That is the maximalist version of like, I say I like pancakes, you say I hate waffles, and you should be going to prison for your take. That was the most insane version of that. I saw a piece of that on TikTok. I do appreciate it because it reminds me, it harkens back to like the Tumblr ultra woke discourse. That's like a woke 1.0 relic. But, excellent stuff regardless. Central Committee, thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream, brother. Very interesting times that we are alive currently. Anyway, let's continue.
But out of a feeling of anger and moral justification, because the rich don't play by the rules, so why should I? And Jeff Bezos has too much money. He's a billionaire, so why should I have to pay for organic avocados? My friends and I have started calling this micro-looting because it has a slight political valence to the theft as opposed to just the thrill of getting away with something. Have you noticed this around you online? Have you noticed more people talking about stealing in this way?
I mean, I have not seen people talking about micro-looting or such, whatever action that this is online. But I think, it kind of speaks to an attenuation of the tactical language of direct action. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if it's like, it doesn't work for me as a form of direct action because it's concealed, right? Like any successful direct action in history has to be ostentatious, has to make itself known, is ideally collective.
How does stealing get brought up and why is she asking so much about it? I don't know why I guess that's what they wanted to talk about, like micro looting or something. I don't care.
And this is sort of necessarily individual and hidden. But I'm like, oh, great. Let's think of ways to, like, let's take this energy and let's move it into some other thing. Like, I think it's great that the valence of property is kind of on the table as something to be toyed with in terms of direct action. I feel like we've forgotten there is a long and storied history of sabotage and sort of engagement with property destruction even, which is abhorrent to people. I mean, you remember in 2020, the like Gucci, Chanel stuff.
I steal cheese because it's too expensive and I am poor. What are you, a rat? Fucking ratatouille ass motherfucker. That's so funny. I mean, respect. All right, let's continue.
In Soho, when that was looted.
Well, NYPD is investigating a robbery pattern targeting high-end clothing boutiques in Soho. Latest happening Tuesday at the Chanel on Spring Street.
That looms so much larger in many sort of Bloomberg liberals' imaginations as profoundly more violent in some ways than the original action being protested, right? And I find that really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about the Boston Tea Party as part of like, that's a political destruction of property. And yet right now it feels like, I agree with you, the looting around the 2020 protests was such a huge talking point. It made people so uncomfortable. And I'm curious why, like, what do you think the root of that is?
I was thinking, that thieves are actually quite highly valorized.
This feels like bait to make people hate the media and leftists. I mean, I don't think I gave any like super unreasonable answers here. I was just like, I don't really give a shit when people who need the food steal the food. Who fucking cares? And also, let's talk about the larger problem, which is our hyper focus on like property rights that we actually place a lot more emphasis on in our commodity fetishist culture, where we literally place the protection of private property and the interests of private property and the storefronts over the interests of human beings. Also, Majority Report, thank you for the raid. But it is precisely that. It is designed to make Matt Iglesias shudder.
In narrative, I mean, Aladdin, famously.
Stop! Robin Hood, Jean Valjean.
Right? Yeah. Jean Valjean.
Stole a loaf of bread.
We understand it's well within the collective consciousness that stealing for need or purpose, it's something that we understand and feel quite friendly towards. And I think if someone were, let's say, walking out of Whole Foods with an IKEA bag of whatever and giving it to the people, sheltering underneath the scaffold.
There's a line where if you talk about this for too long, it starts to look like a caricature of leftism, stuff you would find in a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, I guess.
At the jail going up in Brooklyn next door, I think most people would agree that if someone were to be stealing with a purpose, we love that in America. We do. We can love it again. Mm-hmm. We just have to do it with a purpose.
I was reading a Pew Research poll about Americans' morality, and it basically was just like, well, we didn't even ask about the obviously immoral things like theft. We only asked about like having an affair. And I like, part of what I'm seeing around me is that people feel like the laws are immoral. The rich don't play by the rules. We live in a society where there are billionaires, where the top 1% holds 32% of the net worth and the bottom 50% holds 2.5%. So at some point, if the laws don't feel moral, do you start to question your own sense of having to abide by them?
Of course.
Yeah. I wanted to work off of a point that you were making. This was also something that was addressed in a previous New York Times podcast that I did with Ross Douthat, where I brought up the concept of adventurism. In the Marxist tradition, adventurism is the action that is oftentimes decentralized. Oftentimes anarchists will say this is the propaganda of the deed. The action itself, no matter how violent or how disruptive it is is justifiable because the disruption is the point. I believe in the power of organized labor and labor militancy and building these structures of power so that we can actually make more effective change, more longstanding change. So concepts such as micro-looting indicate that there is an energy there, just like you said, and yet many Americans, I think, are totally oblivious to this political language. They lack the political education. They lack the class consciousness to recognize their position in society, and lack the capacity, unfortunately, to engage in some kind of organized disruption that would be infinitely more effective.
I think what you
like, I feel, okay, serious question. That's the heart of my argument, right? I'm like, yeah, micro looting is irrelevant, unnecessary. It's a breakdown of the social order that we have, and clearly there's an energy that people clearly there's a need here. There's an appetite for fighting back. But at the end of the day, it's infinitely less productive than it's infinitely less productive than like organized labor and labor militancy, right? People are just being done. What they see is the tax the rich shirt douchebag with just 2 women with valley accents. People view it as you're being out of touch without actually listening to what's being said. Damn, that was very rough, Miss Metafan. God damn, one of the OGs in this community coming in and cooking my ass so hard. You didn't something insanely complicated. People are just purposely misrepresenting it. I just think that I'm not doing a good enough job, clearly, as a communicator. If so many people are voluntarily, cynically or not, misunderstanding, and I don't know if we just say this is bad faith and move on. Some of it is bad faith, but clearly even the bad faith interpretations, when that's the only analysis that's first to market and it's so pervasive, it does, I think, cause other people in the margins who would otherwise understand what I'm talking about to misunderstand what I'm saying and also engage in this like bad faith interpretation. And they just like remember me as the guy who was a pro stealing and killing people, or I don't know, whatever the fuck people are saying. Now there are limits to what you can say versus how someone can engage with your words as a matter of the times, a matter of the individual, a matter of worldview. I don't think many people who were upset by our language even watched this fucking video. Yeah.
We're saying about people lack the language and the organizing structure to engage in like the obvious thing to do if you want to chip into the Whole Foods / Amazon mega structure of exploitation is to unionize, like to.
Hasan's biggest issue when he speaks out about difficult topics with a ton of nuance, it's just not something modern internet culture is capable of handling. It's all about quick clips and assumptions. Substance is all out the window. Yes, but I like Hasan because he persists with this nuance, because that is how we should be. And people are smart enough to understand will actually listen instead of biting at clips. There's a lot of smart people. Yeah, I don't know. Hasan's biggest issue is he tries to talk about complex topics from a position of authority when he has neither the intelligence or experience to do so. Like, this is the type of person. This is the type of person that I always am trying to fucking understand. Yeah, Sam Adler Bell says, my contribution to Hasan discourse. I watched a lot of Nick Fuentes on Rumble while working on a piece. The odd thing is that Fuentes is not at all a typical streamer. He's doing a throwback thing, looking into camera, no live chat, just monologuing. Incel Walter Conkright, very impressive. I don't watch him, but I approve of Hasan Piker because I think it's really important for left-wingers to be handsome. And then he also followed up by saying, also regarding Hasan's statement on the UHC assassination, I said pretty much the same thing in my column and on Chris Hayes' show. Democrats aren't lining up to associate themselves with me, but nobody tried to cancel me. Yeah. Got to try harder, bud, to try to get canceled. Yeah, it's they're deliberately misunderstanding and misrepresenting. The only way you get them to stop is to become less moral than they are. The entire hate campaign is gaslighting you into doubting your communication skills. Centrists can't deplatform you, so they try to demoralize you. I mean, they're not going to succeed. They're not going to succeed. And not only that, but I also do think that this causes people, I think, to dig deep, to scratch the surface, and to go on their own personal journeys. Like, people will hear the concept of social murder and I explain it, right? In that short clip that was clipped to say Hasan loves when murder takes place. He's saying every wealthy person is murdering people by the dozens and all of the wealthy people should be killed, or whatever the fuck people are interpreting that I'm saying. But there will be some people that will go, wait a minute, what the fuck's this guy talking about? What is social murder? I never thought about that. I never thought about it like that. Let me take a look. Let me try to figure out what he was saying here, you know? Matty Boy wants to pontificate. Yeah, this is funny as well. Matt, you've seen 7 Hasan clips for a total of 2 minutes. Out of context, please shut the fuck up. I haven't seen any clips. I get my information from reading things. Buddy, the medium that I'm in is not and this means that everything that you've read about me is filtered through the lens of people who fucking despise me. Why the fuck do you think you're going to actually have a nuanced perspective on whatever I'm talking about? Of course you're going to be like, oh, this guy's the fucking idiot. Anyway, but that's Matt Iglesias, who is professionally wrong. So I don't mind his hatred. I welcome his hatred. This cancellation has let me introduce you to my normie friends and them being far more willing to hear you out because of how much they hate the people saying these things about you. Yeah, it's great. I've learned everything about this musician's music by reading them. Yeah. You were on the New York Times, the supposed pinnacle of analysis. Are you not allowed to be nuanced on the New York Times? You know, they just want a new reason to put out the negativity around you so they can use what they can. You know that? Stop playing dumb. No, I see that. I see why Matt Iglesias would say that, because obviously it's much easier for him to do that rather than to sincerely take a look at what I'm saying and maybe identify with some of those points and try to address those points on its own without the negative filter that is slapped onto it that continues through the discourse circuit, right? Because it's much easier to be like, Hasan hates America and loves when people are murdered than to be like, Hasan is addressing the concept of social murder and offering analysis as to why the Gen Z, the generation that is, in abject poverty in comparison to like the fucking boomers in that same time frame when they were the age of Gen Z, and how what their response has been to the violation of the social contract and how little they fucking care about the future of this country. Like that is the analysis that I'm applying here.
Work at a Whole Foods and form a union, and I think the first one was formed recently in Philly, I think. But it's like micro-looting. It feels akin to like a posting about something. Like it's a
kind of. We're going to talk about this in a second as well.
As an atomized individual action, it's useless. It's much harder to get a job and accept $17.50 an hour, and then to organize your colleagues, a process that takes years and is often unsuccessful. I mean, that's really, the thing about actual collective direct action. It's so much harder, and it often doesn't profit you whatsoever, such as, me getting an extra $10 by grabbing my extra loaf of bread from Miss Nancy. Like, it's like, I do think we are also lazy as humans. We're also selfish. We also, we've lost not only the language and the union density and the structure to engage in things like this, but we have also lost the sort of muscle that is built up to be able to engage in these sort of things. We've lost the rooms in which these things are planned,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the confidence. I think we've lost the confidence within ourselves because there is not a lot of action like this. And in the absence of that, we lack the willpower, because we don't even know what that would look like.
And the climate protests in Europe tend to be more militant, right, than the ones that are here. And they are, blocking roadways, like these things that are even objectively completely nonviolent forms of obstruction and interference that don't even involve property destruction, but merely the interruption of the capital flow of the workday. Like,
someone give me the live broadcast for Fox News. Apparently they're talking big shit again. Let's hear. Dude, it's so funny. It is quite literally the this right here is the straight news coverage. Okay? This is the second time today. Expect primetime host to follow suit later today. Yeah. That is crazy. That is actually crazy. The podcast has 5,000 views. You have 6 extra viewers watching live right now. They are giving it more of a megaphone than it had on its own. I agree. You got so much motion. They were doing the Kaya shock slop on Fox fucking News. I know. I love the completely heinous shit Republicans do on a daily basis, and they find what you say reprehensible. How does anyone take them seriously? I don't think you are supposed to take it seriously. I think that the people that take it seriously are insincere, right? The New York Times featured Hasan Piker declaring that he understands murdering healthcare executives like Brian Thompson is citing Frederick Engels for responding to social murder. This is the same person who said U.S. deserved 9/11 and advocated for political violence. This is the same newspaper that effectively banned a U.S. senator for citing the use of military to quell violent protests, which was later done on January 6th, says Jonathan Turdley. So here's a couple things. It's not about making arguments. It's about telling people what the socially acceptable position towards you is. Yes, this is a disciplining process. Okay, the 5 is going to definitely cover this as well. Every day we are moving closer and closer to Donald Trump coming out and being like, someone has to kill this Hasan Piker guy. But here's the thing. Okay, here's the important factor. A lot of people are confused as to why this conversation is taking place. I've also played the fool when talking about it, but I know exactly why this conversation is taking place. Both the establishment elite in the Democratic Party and its gatekeepers in mainstream media want to have safeguards. Conversation is appropriate and acceptable and what is not. This is a disciplining mechanism. Okay? That's all it is. That's precisely what it is. My favorite media critic, Adam Johnson, obviously had some choice words on this issue as well. Where is it? Let me see if I can find exactly what he said. Oh, yeah, here it is. He was responding to Neera Tanden, saying, this whole Piker discourse has been embarrassing to every person who has tried to make him the spokesman for the Democrats. Adam Johnson says, people like to mock the triviality of the Piker discourse, but it's useful to see it as an elite moral panic / disciplining exercise. Tanden hired not one, but 2 architects of the Gaza genocide. CAP, Center for American Progress, is bankrolled by corporate America. These guys desperately needed to be 2015 forever. Absent a boss they can tattle to, their preferred method of disciplining, these manufactured controversies are all they have. That's all this is. The Overton window has slid completely out of control on the issue of Gaza, on the issue of Israel, and they're trying to do their very best to manage the conversation, to try to like pull it back, to yank it, right? And the more mainstream media outlets offer me any credibility or even a microphone to say what I want to say, the more they lose their fucking minds. Not understanding that I already have the platform, right? It's right here. And many people in the media recognize that I have the platform. And that's precisely the reason why they don't actually mind giving me an opportunity to speak, because from their perspective, they benefit from it, right? They probably benefit from it more than I do, because these guys think that this is the only way to reach out to a